Hey, Bart Miller here with Cycling Strong. So I don't have my cycling stuff on today, but I happen to be in Salt Lake, and Dave Harward, which is with Plan 7 Endurance Coaching, was so generous with his time to be able to give me a few minutes. So that's why this video kind of quality is not going to be as good as normal, but I wanted to grab this really quick while I had the chance. So Dave, thanks for meeting with us, and I was asking Dave some questions, and I think they're really important for all the audience out there, for his audience and for mine. So I wanted to grab it and have Dave explain it. So my question was, I have 3 CompuTrainers. We love the CompuTrainer. We ride really hard on them, but we ride the same rides. And I've got a son, as most of you know, that's coming up and wants to race, and he's 14. Yesterday was my birthday. I'm 41, and Eric that I ride with a lot, he's 40. Don't kill me, Eric, but like 45-ish, right through there. So he's a little older than I am. And so I was talking to Dave. I said, well, you know, riding these same rides, should we be riding individual rides, or should we be riding the same kind of thing, and how would that work for us? And so he gave me a response of, Bart, it should be individually. And I'm going to let him explain why that is. So Dave, look at that amazing camera that loves you, and talk as loud as you can, and we'll get some footage of you.
All right, so in answer to your question, ideally an individualized training plan would be the best way to go. Here at Plan 7 we do something called House of Watts, where we're using CompuTrainers in a multi-rider setting. Everyone does the same workout based off of their own functional threshold power.
Right.
That's better than not doing anything.
Right.
You're getting some structure. We're trying to build a structure out that addresses common needs for endurance athletes in preparing for the spring and summer. So we're hitting a lot of targets that people need physiologically. However, each person has their own strengths and weaknesses, and you know, training with your 2 training partners, you may all have similar strengths and weaknesses,
sure,
but you may not.
Right.
Where, like I was telling you before, you may be super good at a threshold effort.
Right.
So being able to punch out 20 minutes at a very hard, steady effort. But then when it comes time for you to do a VO2 surge, right, say a 3 to 5 minute surge,
exactly,
your body is just not efficient at doing that.
Right.
Whereas maybe your son,
yeah,
with the young cardio system, he can just turn it on super hard, but yet he may not have the depth and capacity of threshold ability.
Right.
And so in an individualized program, you would be focusing in, like maintaining your strength, but targeting some of the weaknesses with particular workouts. And you know, we need to be training all the energy systems, and so you know, when you hit threshold, you're getting a maintenance effort.
Right.
Your son might be really working himself over to build that depth up.
Right.
And vice versa with the VO2. Maybe you're going to have to put a little bit more time and effort into your VO2 efforts.
Right. Okay. All right. So now that we've kind of discussed that we should have individual plans, how do you determine that? I mean, because obviously, you know, in one ride, I mean, and maybe I'm wrong, how are you going to know that I'm stronger on or not strong on VO2 max, or somebody else is, or that kind of stuff? How do you figure out an individual plan, and how long does that take to put together? Can you do that in one setting?
So that's a tough one to answer. I mean, it's a long answer. Ideally, someone is motivated enough that they would like an individualized training plan. We take the time to understand their power output. So ideally, someone would be training with a power meter, and then we have CompuTrainers in-house where we bring people in, run them through a variety of testing where we test their threshold capability,
right,
we test their VO2 max capability, we test their anaerobic capability, and then we can also triangulate that out on the road. Some people are great at testing,
right,
other people are terrible at testing, and so I really prefer doing functional threshold testing, where doing the testing on their bike non-intrusively. I mean, we can get some great numbers from blood lactate testing as well as VO2 analysis, but that can inhibit some people's performance. Like
Right.
if they are uncomfortable with that mask on their face,
Right.
we may not get good numbers.
Right.
If they are uncomfortable with getting their finger or their ear pricked when they're going at a hard effort,
Right.
that can impact the test result.
Sure.
And a functional test, I get to see how they handle a hard effort
Yeah.
mentally,
Right.
as well as where they go to for their comfort zone. Like, for example, cadence.
Right.
I may throw you on here to do a test, and you think that you're a high cadence pedaler,
Right.
and you average out at 80
Right.
because you're doing a really hard effort.
Mm-hmm.
And that would give me a bunch of information where I could be like, all right, I know when it gets hard, he's going to resort to a slow cadence, really relying on muscular strength,
Right.
but maybe not utilizing your cardio capability to the maximum. And so I would focus some of your training
Right.
on becoming more efficient at pedaling quicker.
Right.
It's great that you're efficient at pedaling slow, because on climbs we run into that.
Yeah.
In time trials, sometimes it feels a lot better to pedal slower.
Right.
But we want to have a number of tricks in the bag,
Sure.
so that when different situations are in front of you, you're not stuck in one mode.
So once again, I mean, and I just want to get right to it, is how long? I mean, is that a week? Is that a day? I mean, if I signed up with you on a training plan, am I looking at my first month is gaining data, and then we're going to build a plan from there?
Yeah, but, those tests are difficult tests.
Yeah, they are.
So a threshold test,
Yep.
20 minutes.
And then what, at least
A
2
very
days
hard
recovery,
effort.
right, after that?
Yeah, you need some recovery. And then we would do some tests where we have you do 30-second, 20-second, 10-second sprints.
Mm-hmm.
We would have you do some...
Same day or a different day?
Different day.
Okay.
Because that 20 minutes is going to
Blow you up. Should.
really empty the tank.
Right.
And then those high effort sprints
Yeah.
are going to empty
Same
the
thing.
tank too, because you've got to warm up into them, you've
Yeah.
got to do some practice sprints.
Yep.
And so by the time you finish those, you're depleted.
Yeah.
Then we would want to do some VO2 max profiling,
Okay.
where we have you do 8, 5, and 3-minute efforts.
Okay.
And you may be really good at 3-minute VO2,
Right.
but terrible at 8-minute.
Right.
Or you've been doing mellow winter training since
Yeah.
last August,
Right.
and the VO2 max efficiency just isn't there.
Gotcha.
So 3 minutes, great. Oh boy, we need to work on 5 and 8 before the race season starts. Same thing, I like to look at tempo efforts, where it's good hard work, but you can do it for a long time.
Mhm.
And so we start to see what kind of tempo effort power output you can tolerate. And so to get a perfect picture,
Yeah.
it's a month of different types of workouts, different data sets that we're trying to profile.
Okay. Then after a month, you can pretty well look and say, okay, I kind of know where these things are at.
Here's what we've got to work
Yeah.
with.
Here's where we're starting. Here's our baseline. And then you can start to go through the rest of the year that way and plan it out.
Yeah, we're tailoring building depth to all of those capabilities,
Yeah.
in addition to figuring out how that fits within your
Your
event
times
calendar.
and stuff like that.
So you may, I have athletes who aren't event driven. They may not even do a race or do a century or do like a Grand Fondo.
Right.
They just want to make the absolute best use of their time
Mhm.
that they are training,
Right.
all the way up to the pro athlete who, if we don't have their stuff figured out right, they may not have a job next year.
Right.
And so, the longer that I can work with someone, the more history. Like some athletes bring 5 years of power data with them,
Right.
and that's amazing because I load it in, I can rip it apart, I can see where they do their best, like where they've done their best in the season in the past, see how quickly we can build, like what their recovery ability is. So the more data you have, the better.
Okay.
And the longer that you can work with someone, the better result, because you know I learn your personality, I learn what motivates you, I learn what your recovery, how your body recovers. I learn how fast we can pile the load on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that long range interaction always ends up with the best training plan.
So if there was one thing that we were going to talk with any athlete right now, the one thing so let's say in 3 months from now, I was going to go race Tour de Park City here in town.
Yeah.
And I had a 3-month time period. What's the number one thing you'd say Bart to work on? What's the number one thing you got to do?
I mean, Tour de Park City, obviously long climbs.
Sure.
You're going to be out on the bike over 8 hours.
Sure.
And so you need to be prepared for that.
Okay.
You need to know how your body's going to react.
Sure.
For many hours on the bike. You're going to need to understand your nutrition needs and your hydration needs.
Yep.
And I would say that those two are probably the more key components out of all of it.
Okay. So nutrition and hydration.
Proper fueling and proper hydration.
Okay.
Those will make or break.
Right.
And so you need to practice proper nutrition on long rides. Something that you can tolerate for 2 or 3 hours may destroy you at 6 or 7.
Exactly.
And so you need to have an idea if it's going to work or not.
Yeah. And we've talked about that a lot on the blog before, is that's one thing you've got to do, so I'm glad to hear that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and these training plans that you put together for a month, if somebody hasn't had a coach out there, what should they be looking for in their coach? Because I've had coaches, and you know, good or bad, you don't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? If you haven't worked with other people. So what are some key things to look for in a coach?
I think one of the important factors is that they are asking you what your goals are, what your interests are, what motivates you within cycling.
Okay.
Essentially, you are the owner of the training plan.
Right.
It is all about you. And that's how the individualized training plan should be tailored, is 100% to your needs. I may look at you and be like, oh, we crack you into shape, you should be the most awesome climber ever.
Right.
But yet you hate climbing.
Right.
And you don't enjoy descending.
Right.
Or, you know, I mean, you see somebody who looks like the perfect crit racer, and they just don't want to race crits. And if I drive their training in that direction that I think they should be going, it doesn't match up. You no longer feel like you own the plan, and your motivation isn't going to go. I think that you need to find coaches who have some training, you know, some background. You don't have to be the best at what you're coaching. Yeah. But you need to be a student of the sport. Yeah. You know, you look at a lot of the best basketball coaches out there, and they were not the best players. Right. But they were students of the game. They had a passion for the game. You bet. And they can look at each individual on the team and find out their key component, their key motivator, what they're the best at, and then put all that chemistry together. And that's what makes a phenomenal team, and in turn a phenomenal coach. Good. Or a phenomenal individual athlete.
Yeah. Another thing I would say too, just really quick, is when I was looking for a coach, is find a coach that you get along with. If it's a coach you're fighting with or you don't like them, it isn't worth it. And you're paying to have that experience and be part of your life, and they may be the best coach in the world, but if you're always fighting with them, it ain't worth it. But if you can have a personality where you get along and understand each other, you will excel with a coach, because you have somebody there keeping you on task, telling you exactly where you need to be. And if you don't agree with the workouts, just like Dave was saying, talk to the coach. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you. I mean, and I think that everybody should have a coach in every aspect, and even in business. You know, I do tons and tons of business things, but I have coaches that I use in business. I have coaches in all sorts of different aspects of my life to help me be better. So just because you're a great rider doesn't mean you don't need a coach. And I think that's really important. And I think as I watch the blogs out there and I watch everything out there, that's one reason I've really watched Dave a lot. He didn't know me from Adam a year and a half ago, but he came on my radar when I was in St. George, and I actually started watching lots of things he was doing. I follow a lot of the athletes that he actually coaches, and I've watched what he's doing with those athletes. I've seen the reports come back. In fact, I was just at a cycling shop and was talking about him just a few minutes ago with another person that's doing really well and give good feedback. So do your homework on the coach you're after. There's a lot of coaches where you go to these places and they say, you know, sign up for the coach and have this. Get to know them. Well, you can't just get to know them in 5 minutes, in my opinion. Go follow their blog. Go follow what they're doing and see if they're getting the results that you're really looking for or that you're going to mesh before you really do that. So my son's here with us, and so I was telling Dave some things that we do around there. Some of you may have heard we have cheat days around our house. So my little guy, Xander, he always says, "Is it my cheat day? Can I have some snack today? It's my cheat day," you know, because we do a 24-hour cheat day. So when we start, it's like game on, and it's like our cheat time. So anybody comes to our house and wants to have treats, it's like, whose cheat day is it today? You know, and if it's not anybody's cheat day, they know they're out of luck because none of us will participate. But if it's cheat day, it's like game on at our house. The treats are around. Okay, so anyway, we just thought I'd throw that in there. But people find that funny about our family and cycling, I guess. But that's our nutrition stuff. So the other thing that I'm going to tell you from a personal standpoint I've been watching you for is fit. So I got fit 4 years ago, and in my fit, they put my shims in the wrong way. And when I left, I rode for quite a bit of the season, and I had huge pain. Like I was thinking, there's no way, it's got to be the saddle, so I changed the saddle out, lots of things, and I tore my glute. And finally went into another fitter, and he looked at my shoes and he goes, "Oh, simple. They had everything right, but they turned your shims the wrong way." And so, yeah, it ruined my...
Yeah, it ruined your season.
It ruined my big ride, right? And that's the downfall that probably I do, and a lot of coaches would say, is I pick one main event, and that is my event. And I agree, if I screw up everybody out there, I'm on the blog, go easy on me, I get it. If my nutrition isn't right, or I'm sick that one time, I've blown my season. I don't look at it that way. It's just my premier event. I do have other events I do, but that's just the way I like to function. So that's what I do. So that being said, when it comes to fit to me is very critical, yet very personal to a person. And I always leave a fitter and they go, "Well, that's just a great starting point." And it's like, I don't want a great starting point. I mean, I shouldn't say that. But I mean, if it is, then by hell, bring me back in a week and say, "How's it going?" Don't just say, "Adjust your own stuff." Sure. And I feel like I've been, just so you're aware, I've been to 3 fitters that if I said their names, people would know them. They're good fitters. Yeah. But I still don't feel like I'm getting the maximum power out of my, and this is where this comes from. I read Hunter Allen's book, and he talks in that book about, and it's the, what's the power,
High performance cycling, or
no,
training
it's
with
his
a power meter?
Training with a power meter, but it's the latest WKO, whatever it is. Anyway, I can't remember the name of it, so look it up. But in there, he talks about one of the pro athletes that was really getting killed, I want to say, on the hills. It's been a while since I read it. And every time, he would do great on flat rides, right in the wing. As soon as there was a hill involved, he'd end up. And so they went back, analyzed power data, just like you were, and found out that his cadence was all of a sudden too slow. Yeah. So they redid his gearing, and all of a sudden, bam, he was petted, he was all get out, and they readjusted some of the fit inside there. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so cool to know. Like, so how do I figure that out? So when my last coach, I got all my power files, and I bought a cork, went out there and spent all the money, and he chewed me out because, and he'll know who he is, he'll watch this video, and give me the 1, 2, 3, because I want the best of everything. And when you follow me, I buy the nicest wheels, I have the nicest bikes, I have, well, if it's what I think is the best, that's what I'm riding. I don't care if I can't utilize it, that's just the way I am. And those people that know me, everybody knows that, so I just get it right out in the open. So anyway, that all being said, now it's long-winded. I'm going to go to, I've been watching you on fits, and I see some of the fits you've done for some of the pro girls, and you post them on your Facebook post. Yeah. And so I go back and I start watching this, and I want to know, how do you fit? And one of the things I'm asking is, now, I have one fitter that says, if they fit you on top of the bars, get off the trainer and leave, because you're not riding on the bars in your big races. You should be fit on your drives. You know, and that was his philosophy. So he really fit me to the drops because that's where you're spending most of your time, and that's where, or you should be in these big races to be more aerodynamic. Da, 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 da. So his whole psychology around that was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. I'm open. So enlighten me.
So I've been doing fitting for a long time, over 7 years.
Okay.
I've had training in a variety of fitting methodologies.
Okay.
I'm not obligated to any one.
Sure.
And so I think that that's a good thing.
I do too, by the way.
And I'm not trying to sell product.
Right.
So
what he's meaning by that, just so everybody out there is very aware, if you're buying a bike or you haven't been fit, is most bike shops, when you get a fit done there, I'm not saying they're pushing products, but they've got everything there, and they'll swap saddles, they do this, they do that, and they're trying to upsell a lot of stuff, and they're trying to make sure, I don't know if they're trying to upsell, but you know, they do swap out a lot of products, let's put it that way.
You know, part of the fit can be able to find, you know, a better handlebar, which of course will be more expensive.
Right.
I will have a variety of saddles.
Right.
So just in case somebody comes in with a saddle that is terrible for them, right. We can at least have some alternatives. Right. I'll have a variety of reach of handlebars. Yeah.
Let me interrupt you for one more second. So when you're talking saddles, the reason he's talking about that being really seriously is when you measure your sit bones, which is part of your fit, he's going to know some of the saddles are going to directly help you, should help you.
As well as like the focus of your riding. So again, where fitting is approached from an individualized standpoint.
Okay.
So if you come into me and say, I want to become better at climbing, that is my focus. I want to...
So I'm an endurance rider and I want to be better at climbing.
Yeah.
That would be me, so let's go from there.
And so I will start thinking about that positioning to optimize those abilities.
Okay.
I'm going to look at your flexibility and range of motion.
Mm-hmm. And how important is that? And how much does it change during the season?
Fitting's dynamic.
Okay.
So, you know, if we fit you today, 1 year from now, we would not be seeing the same thing. Based on how much you ride, based on your weight, based on how much you stretch, injuries. Right. There's so many factors that go into it. So each fit is a clean slate. Yeah. It is an interview to find out, again, what type of cycling you do. Right. What type of intensity of cycling, what kind of pain that you experience related to fitting, how to handle injuries, both long injuries that happened years ago, as well as injuries at the moment. And then we start optimizing. I put you in a safe position. Yeah. And then I start asking you lots of questions. And you will be on and off the bike a lot.
And I'm just going to interrupt you really quick. Do you look at power during those time periods in the fits to see if they're getting optimal power, or do you know any of that going into it?
And so, you know, if I am training them individually, I have a sense of what their output is. Sure. Sometimes I will recommend a fit after a power test because I'll see that their power balance left and right is off. Okay. Or their average torque angle varies significantly from left to right. And that can just indicate that there might be some fitting issue. Right. So, again, fitting really comes down to that individual process. Yeah. What you want out of your riding, what your performance is, and where you want it to go. Yeah. And so we may, you may be new to time trialing, and you want a time trial fit, and your range of motion isn't awesome. Yeah. And so we could put you in a super aerodynamic position.
Right. But it's going to kill you.
But if you can't stay in it for 3 minutes, then there's no point in doing that. And so I would set you up very conservatively,
right.
Have you practice, give you a stretching routine, give you a core strength routine, and then in 3 months after riding the TT bike twice a week in your training program and doing all of the other, have you come back in and see what the range of motion is like. See if we can optimize. Or maybe you're just more used to the position. You have taught the muscles how to be a little bit more efficient with the extra training time. Right. And then we can optimize a little bit more.
So what should they look at for cost in a fit?
Fitting, there's a wide range. You know, a really comprehensive fit with Plan 7 is $250. You can plan on 2 hours of super hands-on. We're going to look at everywhere that we can optimize, down to even micro adjusts of your hoods, proper rotation of your handlebars, proper support for your foot, so that your knee alignment's ideal.
So $250, and can they call you back if they have an injury or something? You work with them?
Yeah. So you know, we're on a very static setup to do the fit. Yep. So and it'll take a good 2 to 3 weeks of regular riding for the body to make an adaptation. Yep. And so as someone's leaving a fit, I give them a list of things to pay attention to. Yep. I ask them to take notes after every ride. Yep. If they're one of my athletes that I train already, I'm asking them to put comments in their workouts. Yep. You know, something that you might notice tomorrow that's kind of weird. 3 weeks, you would have to look back to tomorrow to remember what you were even thinking about. And then, you know, if we get 2 months out and something weird comes up that seems fit related, I'll have a conversation. If it seems like we need to do some hands-on work, I'll have people come in.
Great. So one thing y'all know, everybody should have a fit, in my personal opinion. I don't think you should be riding a bike if you're not having the bike fit, because you cannot optimally get what you want out of the bike, and it will ruin the fun for you. And I don't care if it's a mountain bike or if it's a road bike, and don't do that to yourself. And I don't care if it's a young kid getting into mountain biking or whatever it is. If they're going to go compete, be serious enough to go get them fit, or have somebody who knows what they're doing look at what's going on there, because you don't want to hurt their knees, you don't want to hurt their body over something simple. I wouldn't say it's simple, it's most definitely not simple, but a process of having somebody look fit.
And in regards to mountain biking, it can help you ride with skill.
Absolutely.
If you are properly balanced on the bike, as much as the angle of your brake levers can change your body's center of balance.
Very good. Yeah.
And so if you have to do a lot of movement to get to your brake levers, you're rolling your center, your body's center of mass forward, and then you're putting the brakes on.
So all of you know I complained about my brakes on my top-of-the-line Scott mountain bike. I hated them last year. So when I built this new custom Borealis, I put the Hope brakes on there because I could adjust them just exactly where I wanted them to be. And I've loved those brakes. So that's a good example of exactly that. All right, so I kind of wanted to do a wrap up here with Dave. We've talked about a lot of stuff. I'm sure you've got lots of questions. And always remember, if you have questions, put them in the comments below, and Dave or somebody will get back to you from Plan 7. They want you to be successful, so make those comments, be part of the community. That's how you get the knowledge that you want. But most important, if you're looking for a trainer, which I hope you are, or if you're looking for a fit, don't hesitate to reach out, and we're going to give Dave's information to you right now. But I've been following him for quite some time. I'm very, very impressed, or I wouldn't be doing this interview today with him. I've watched the athletes that he's been training. They've got amazing results, and I'll let him brag about himself a little bit. But I know he probably hates to do that. But the thing I like the most, and that I found out about Dave is he was an amazing athlete, still is an amazing athlete, I shouldn't say was. He's an amazing athlete. His wife is an amazing athlete. If you follow him, you'll see that he's out riding bikes all the time. In fact, I think he just got back from Moab, is what I was watching here. St. George, that's what it was. Yeah. So St. George, and shows these beautiful bikes, but he lets you be part of his world, which is what I really like the most. But his athletes do get great results, and he's got an amazing training center. So that being said, give us just a quick how do we find you and that kind of stuff.
So the easiest way to find us is plan7coaching.com. That's the number 7. You can reach me directly at dave@plan7coaching.com. You can call me 801-661-7988. Come visit us. We've got the House of Watts, which is our CompuTrainer multi-rider setup. The same location we are doing bike fits, individual testing, consultations. One of our recent add-ons is Brianne Nalder. She is running the Plan 7 Nutrition. We've also got Mike Booth, who runs Plan 7 Skills. So he's doing on-the-bike skills. We also do tactical evaluation. So we'll put cameras on your bike, front and rear, send you off to race, and then we'll analyze the video afterwards and let you know what we think.
Very cool.
He works with descending, general skills on the road bike. We've got Sarah Kaufman and Ben Ollett. Sarah's a pro mountain biker with the Stands No Tubes team.
Nice.
And Ben Ollett focuses on mountain bike and cyclocross coaching. He coached Georgia Gould to a bronze medal at the most recent Olympics. And so we've really got a huge depth of knowledge, depth of experience amongst our crew.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of fun to help athletes at all levels find where they want to be and help them reach their goals.
So there you have it. So, you know, once again, I don't care if you're in Australia. I know we've got lots of people there that follow the blog. There's an airplane. Come here. These guys will take care of you. And some of you, you know, that's not an issue. So don't hesitate, but find the people that fit you the best and then work with those. I know that Dave can work with you remotely. We were talking about that earlier. And he can send files. It's a great thing about the internet today. So don't hesitate to even reach out to him in that aspect if he's not in your area, because he can still help you and get you to the level you want and create just as much pain through the internet as he could if you were in person. So keep that in mind. And once again, can't thank Plan 7 and all our coaches for taking time out to help our audience and help us to get to the next level in our cycling. So keep out there cycling strong, and we'll be talking to you soon.